Hello everybody, vanburman here, and welcome to Love and Life with me, vanburman. Basically, where it's a new series where I can answer questions if needed, but anonymously, of course. And just really sort of talking about the things that or another side that is important to us. A huge amount of people. I know games are very important in life and in the storytelling and the connection that we have between them. It's not something to be ashamed about, but it's the real life ones that we have, which are our own real adventure. And sometimes they can be forged through games. There's no harm in that at all. But some of the stuff in real life can be a lot more difficult, and unfortunately there are no walkthroughs that you can just get to help you along with it, unfortunately. So I have decided to do some videos on it. If people like it, then I'll continue to do it, and if they don't, then I probably won't bother anymore. One of the things I wanted to talk about today is a bit more, well, I suppose I don't want to say, I guess it's slightly advanced in terms of how a relationship is, especially, for example, mine at the moment, or, yeah. And basically, the thing is sort of, basically missing someone is a huge part of life that we have to go through, especially when we're younger and we have other commitments that need to be done. You can't just take always things to the next level. It just doesn't work like that. And I just wanted to talk about ways to deal with that, and how to think about it really. Now, I had a word with my grandparents because my granddad was in the army when he met my grandma, and they spent lots of time apart from each other, even when they were together, even when they were married and had children. And that's mainly because my granddad was in the army, but he was a warrant officer, which is, it's not really high ranking, but it's a very it's a long service. I think you have to be at least 10 years in the army before you can get to that. So it was quite important to my granddad to do that. And him and my grandma actually ended up moving over to Germany while my granddad was stationed over there. So that's one of the ways obviously they got around it. But by that time they were married and they had their children, which included my mother. So but I went to them asking for some advice at the minute about how to deal with having that sort of longer distance thing where you're sort of stuck into a situation where you can't develop it further. And it's difficult, very difficult in fact. And especially when you are also told that you then have less time with that person than you would like. Yeah, it makes things really difficult. So I had to ask them for advice, what I would think, because it's very difficult for you to try and give yourself advice on your situation, because you do feel it a lot more. You need a sort of somewhat detached view sometimes, or someone looking from the outside in can make it a little bit easier, I suppose. But one of the things, he said he really couldn't give me any advice, and it is a very hard thing to do. Basically, you've literally got to stick with it. If you really like someone, or if you're in love with someone, then it is something that you have to take on the chin, and it hurts. It hurts a lot when you want to be with someone and you can't be. It's a lot. It's one of those things that you are going to find when you're younger. Like I am, pre-25 sort of age, you are going to get that. Or up until the point where you have, both have jobs that you could support, living together or being able to advance. And then of course you've got each person's ambitions in life. A lot of things are, a lot of people's ambitions could take them away from someone that they love, and that's very hard on the other person to have to think about that, or to maybe even one day be asked to deal with it. So you've really got to think about what you're after from your relationship. And if it is that you want to be with someone, then I would say you might have to make a little bit of compromise on certain things. To be able to be with each other, spend more time together. And that's always not quite as easy, if you have educational commitments like, going to uni or doing your college courses or, whatnot. And then obviously working as well, which takes up a heck of a lot of time, but, it's where you get your money from. So, important things that do have to be done. You can't obviously end up neglecting them too much, otherwise you don't really have a foundation to build on. Well, that's what I think anyway, personally. I know I haven't been much help, but effectively, if there's the sort of situation that you're in, then it is really, one of those things where you have to make the most of what you do have. Try and communicate a good amount with the other person, I would say. If you're able to text each other, then that's great. Say goodnight to each other. On the phone. It doesn't have to be a long phone call, of course, but it's just those little things which are nice. But obviously, it's no consolation for being able to go to bed with that person and wake up with them, because it's obviously by far the best thing you can have with someone else. In my opinion, it might not be the same for everyone, but that's how it is for me. I just realised as well that I haven't actually made a scene for the end of the video, so oh well, I will do for the next one, if I do another one, of course, unless I get told that I'm not allowed to talk about these things, which I probably won't do, but you never know. So yeah, that would be my advice. If you're missing someone, you're gonna have to suck it up effectively, and if it's so difficult, then so difficult and you don't really know what you want from it, or you don't really know how you feel, because it might be early on or whatever, then I would seriously sit down and think about it. Maybe the pain of not being with someone at all is not worth, the pain you have to go through to see them when you can, or to talk to them when you can. And that's obviously down to everyone's personal preference, really, on that side of things. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for watching. If you do want to send me any questions or anything, just generic ones are perfectly fine. I don't mind giving my opinion on them. Then do just send me a message into my YouTube inbox and I will read it. Doesn't mean I'll use it, but I'll definitely read it. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, listening even, and I will see you on my next video, whatever that happens to be. Goodbye, everybody.